Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. It is Big Hat Friday, and this is the biggest Hat Friday of them all because the Braves just swept the Mets in spectacular fashion. Spectacular fashion. Three straight come from behind wins, and everyone felt a little sweeter than the next. Michael Harris has a big day, breaks out of his slump, hits a homer. He had a couple of hits last night. Big series for him breaking out of the slump. But this game, Spencer Strider versus Justin Verlander, a chance to sweep. Everyone's expecting this pitcher's duel, and it turns out to be anything but. Strider had some of his worst stuff. His velocity was down. He gave up several home runs. It was his worst start that we've seen maybe in his major league career, probably his entire major league career. Justin Verlander on the other side couldn't make it out of the fourth inning. So you're kind of just sitting there. I'm at the game. The Braves are going back and forth. I almost left. I was like, you know what? Like I got to record. I got to do stuff in the morning. Thank God I didn't. Thank God I was sitting in the chop house. I was like, I'm tired of standing. The person I was with is like, let's go down to the seats. We can go find some seats in the lower level like that. So I go do that. Turns out to be I would have missed the game of the season. Ozzie Albies walks it off. I don't know. I guess you're listening on the broadcast. You had Chipper, Smoltz, Frenchie in the booth. Like, it was just a picture-perfect ending to a picture-perfect series. And we talked about the Braves just finding momentum, and they found it over the last 4 days. That's four straight come-from-behind victories, and this one walks it off in the ninth with Ozzie Albies, sweeps the Mets. They're now 8.5 games back. I don't even know if the Marlins won. Who cares? Like the Braves, when they're playing like this, when they're hitting like this, they are unbeatable. They cannot be beat. And it was just a spectacular series win over your division rivals. And it feels like one of those series, even though it's in June, that they're not going to be able to come back from. They might make the playoffs. They are not catching the Braves. I know I'm sitting here with a stupid big hat on my head, and people are going to be like, you sound like Sal Licata. The NL East is over. No, I'm telling you, the Mets are not catching the Braves. I don't care. They're not. It is in their heads. They mentally cannot beat the Braves. It is in their heads. They cannot catch the Braves. They cannot beat the Braves. They cannot do anything to the Braves. They are little brother to the T. They will not catch the Braves. They will not do it.
Yeah, prior to that Diamondbacks comeback, which started this 4-game streak of coming back in each game, it felt like the Braves hadn't had, that signature win almost, where it wasn't like a game where you like, God, we really needed that. That was awesome. And then we just got 4 in a row where we just came back in each game, down 3 against the Mets every single game. Unbelievable. Just as we all thought, the two aces of the staff, two of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, just come out and get wrecked by both sides, just as we all expected. That felt as much about playoff baseball as you're going to get in the month of June. It was unreal to watch. I know you were there, so you probably didn't hear any of the commentary from the guys in the booth. Absolutely unreal. It was kind of wonky at times because it was just 4 guys like us just watching a baseball game. There was no actual guy progressing and going to commercial breaks. It was Frenchie trying to maintain it all, and he's not that guy. But it was hilarious. The game-winning hit by Ozzie Albies, I'm sure you've seen it by now. I'm sure all Braves fans have seen it by now. But Frenchie has an unreal call where he goes, "Get Larry a crown." I mean, just absolutely hysterical. I don't want to say the NL East is over at all because of just the voodoo that might come with that. But I will say, I don't know how the Mets not only catch the Braves, but kind of salvage this season. Like it feels like, every game, you've got Scherzer on the mound, you're up 4-1, and then you blow it. And then there was multiple times where I was like, I don't know if the Braves can come back from this. I tweeted it. I was like, are we coming back for a third straight sweep? Like, is that what we're doing? And I kind of was just kidding around, but this team, talk about playing to the final whistle. There's no whistle in baseball, but if there were, the Braves are playing through the final whistle. Just an unbelievable series. Tip of the cap to the Braves. Ozzie Albies, he said he doesn't get to pimp many of them, so he had to stand and watch that one, and I loved it.
I mean, it was an absolute bomb, and
Yeah.
it flew right by me, and it was just like it was. I mean, there were so many homers in that entire game from both
Yeah.
teams. From both teams. I mean, I don't know what the combined home run total, but it had to be like 10 because Ozuna had one. Travis d'Arnaud hit a huge homer to cut it to 1. Orlando Arcia bombs one to tie the game in the 9th inning, and they almost won it in the 9th, didn't win it. And then Ozzy Albies comes up with a huge homer. How about that strikeout call on Ozuna to start on that? Like that was one of the worst.
It was worse on TV.
I
know you were there.
Yeah.
That Arcia home run should have been the walk-off because Ozuna should have been on base. That should have been a walk-off.
And I called the Ozuna walk-off. I said Ozuna's going to walk this off when it was like 10-7. And I was like, come on, Ozuna, hit one out. If you hit a game tire, same thing. It's fine.
Unreal.
I mean, just and then you see Frank the Tank's video after it. He's shirtless. I don't know why he's shirtless, or he ripped his shirt in half. It's just you just can't help but laugh because it's like this team has now beat the Mets 11 out of their last 13 games. They swept them at the end of October or end of September, start of October to win the division last year. They came back from 10.5 games. They've now won 6 of 7 or 5 of 6 of them this year. And 3 of them come in comeback style. The Mets aren't toast. The Mets are going to make the playoffs. The Mets are going to make the playoffs.
That's what I keep saying, though. The Mets are a good team. Look, this is the highest payroll in history. It's overpaid, sure. It's old, sure. But it's still talented. Pete Alonso's not going to be out for the year. Scherzer and Verlander, sure, we roughed them up. But they're still, hell of a pitchers. They'll be fine. They're going to make the playoffs. They'll catch the Marlins. I'm sure the Marlins are overachieving by far. That offense cannot sustain what they're doing.
The Mets are going to make the playoffs. Their fans need to chill out. They're not going to catch the Braves. The Braves are going to win the NL East. I don't give a crap if I'm saying this in June. Like, I don't care. Because I said this in June last year when we were down 7.5 games. You think I'm not going to say it when we're up 7.5 games? Like, I do not care. Like, I can look like the idiot at the end of the season, but I'm not going to because unlike the Mets last year, we are the best team in the division. And that's what I keep trying to tell people. Like, you're allowed to proclaim this. Like, you don't have to sit back and say, oh, look what happened to the Mets last year. We're not the Mets. We're not going to lose. We're not going to Met this around. We've won 5 straight division titles. You're allowed to sit here and be cocky. Be cocky. Shove it in their face. This is what you're a Braves fan. Be cocky. You are the class of the National League. You're the class of baseball right now. Enjoy it. If you're not going to be cocky now, when are you going to be cocky? This is what it's all about. And this team is starting to catch fire. Their lineup's starting to hit from top to bottom. If Max Fried gets healthy, this team is so dang scary for the rest of the league. It is the closest thing that we have to a super team in the MLB. When Max Fried comes back, it is so dominant. And I fully believe, I know people were freaking out about Spencer Strider, man, dude, it's going to happen. These things happen. His velocity has been down from last year, the whole season. He still had 101 strikeouts after 61 innings. It's going to happen. He's going to be fine. Let's talk about Austin Riley though. Cause I was told he can't hit in the 3-hole.
Yeah.
I was told he can't hit in the 3-hole. I mean, yeah, that's what people on Twitter told me. I think if you go look at his OPS now, since he's been moved back to the 3-hole, it's sitting around 1,200. Guys, if you thought Austin Riley wasn't going to heat up, you're an idiot. If you thought AJ Minter was not going to come back and be one of the best relievers in baseball, you're an idiot. If you don't think Spencer Strider is going to come back and be one of the best pitchers in baseball after a bad outing, you're an idiot. If you didn't think Michael Harris was going to come back and be a good player, you're an idiot. I'm just telling you this because I tell you these things. I get up here, I spout them. You call me an idiot. But the reality is I'm right. Every damn time, I'm right. And I'm going to do my victory lap because I am right. And this team is going to run away with the NL East. They're going to win the World Series. This team, they are going to win the World Series. The only thing that stopped them last year from winning the World Series was injuries. As long as Max Fried and Spencer Strider are healthy in October, no one is stopping this team. No one in the National League is stopping this team. Now, we can meet in the World Series. We'll probably meet a good team. No one in the National League is stopping this team. They have that juju. They are the best. And I'm on one today because we're feeling ourselves out of a victory. But I've been saying this all year. They are going to win the World Series. They're going to win the National League. They're going to win the NL East. End of story. Enjoy it. Talk your crap.
Yeah, another name that deserves a ton of praise, which Orlando Arcia. I mean, you keep thinking he's going to regress, he's going to hit a slump, and he just doesn't. I mean, that guy is unreal. Biggest bargain in baseball at this point. If he qualified in terms of innings, he would rank near the top of every metric for shortstops. He's playing unreal baseball. And that just goes to show these guys are all locked up. This is the golden years of the Braves. We're back in the 90s again, where we're going to expect a World Series every single year. We are back in the golden years.
I'm sticking with you on the Arcia point. Like, should we start talking about Arcia should we start talking about him as an all-star? Because the guy's hitting .315, playing good defense. Like, if you look at him per metric WAR, game by game, he's more valuable than every shortstop in the NL East, which includes Trey Turner, Francisco Lindor. He's just as valuable as Dansby Swanson, whose people are projecting to be the starting shortstop in the National League. Lindor, Trey Turner, they've been locking up all-star spots for their entire careers, but they shouldn't be all-stars this year. Neither of them have been good. Neither of them deserve an all-star spot. Dansby, he's been good, probably deserves an all-star spot. But other than that, who is it?
I agree with you.
Arcia should be right there.
I agree. He deserves praise. I mean, it's just absolutely unreal. Rewind several months ago, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, and we were all talking about we cannot go into the season. And listen, I was saying it myself. We cannot go into the season with Orlando Arcia starting shortstop. And even if we did, nobody could have predicted this kind of turnaround for him. I mean, not turnaround. I mean, he's just continued to do it. He just comes to the Braves. Everybody just comes to the Braves and they play and they become the best version of themselves. I don't know what's in the water in Atlanta, but Orlando Arcia is drinking it.
Yeah, it's because you can't even say it's a turnaround because he's never been this player before.
He's never been this player
before. And he hit pretty well. He hit the best of his career in Atlanta last year. He's never been this player. What are you doing? He's never been this player before. So it's pretty unreal to see. And I think he should be considered for the All-Star game. Jesse Chavez,
it's just crazy. I mean, we were worried about Orlando Arcia, and every other position we weren't really worried about. Maybe left field. Ozuna's back. Eddie Rosario's heating up. Orlando Arcia is playing like the best shortstop in the National League, or as good as Dansby Swanson. The rotation's on fire. The bullpen has started to come back. And there's a trade deadline.
Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about Just Stop Tweeting Chris Sims.